Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the next session on front-end development. One second, let me check if I'm live. Okay, perfect. I'm live. So let's get started. This is lesson number 61 in the front-end playlist. And in this session, we are going to understand about CSS interview questions. If you are new here or if you are coming back to this session after a long time, then let me tell you what all things we have done. So we have completed our HTML interview questions, which was done yesterday. And today morning itself, I already also completed one of the topic of JavaScript, which is objects. And now we are here with CSS interview questions. So in this interview questions, we are going to only talk about some of the 30 to 40 questions which can be or must be asked in interviews on CSS. So we are going to discuss about that, just like we did it in HTML. So that's what we are going to do. And yeah, that's all about it. The next sessions will be on JavaScript. For next 4 to 5 sessions, whatever will be upcoming, those all will be on advanced JavaScript. So be ready for that, because now we will not have anything related to HTML or CSS. We'll have only one topic on CSS, which will come later on, which we'll talk about preprocessors at that time, because one of you have asked about the preprocessors like less and SAS, SCCSS, all of those things. So we will be talking about that in a different session. But right now, JavaScript we will take consideration into, to complete 4 to 5 sessions at least on advanced JavaScript. And yeah, so that's all about it. Let's get started with this particular session, which is on interview questions on CSS. So if you do not know what is happening here, so let me tell you about it. If you guys are new here, then let me tell you about it. So this is the CodeBeyond channel by Unacademy, which is providing free course content on different domains like front-end development, back-end development, Python, SQL and all. And I'm here with front-end development. So we are covering all the basics and advanced concepts of many languages, many frameworks, by which if you will study, if you will gain knowledge on that, then you will be able to crack an interview of front-end development, right? So that's what we are going to do here. And we have already covered the basics, and now we are into advanced, and by this week I think everything will be finished on this part, and we are going to start with Bootstrap and jQuery. So talking about myself, my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I have also worked as a subject matter expert and a research analyst in many of the edtech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience, and I have trained graduates and corporate employees from Edison and Capgemini. So I've trained more than 30K students till now. It is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end languages, database languages, mostly into full stack development domain. Okay. So I also do take tips and tricks on how to crack interviews. So soon I'm going to come up with those tips and tricks playlist, right? So the playlist name will be interview preparation tips and tricks. And by 25th and 26th, we have 2 sessions on that. So on 25th, I'll be taking one session on tips and tricks part 1, and 26th I'll be taking tips and tricks part 2. So those are not technical related, those will be only related to your interview preparations. So make sure that you join those sessions, right? And you can use my code RIT10 to get a free level sample test paper. Now if you do not have any idea what is level, don't worry, in just 1 minute I'm going to tell you about that, what is Relevel. And if you have an idea, if you have already seen my previous sessions and you know about Relevel, then you must be knowing that you have to give an actual test. So to ease the process, we are providing a free level sample test paper if you use the code, so that you'll get an idea which kind of questions will be asked in the actual test, right? Now, the people who do not know what is Relevel, let me introduce it to you. So basically this product was launched because of a main reason. Now the main reason was that many a times candidates miss out on a great opportunities due to multiple reasons. Okay, those multiple reasons can be anything, like let's say some of the students are doing BSc, BCom or BCA, but they want to jump into IT field. They have the skills and talent, but still they are not being able to jump into IT field because they've applied 50, 60 companies, but none of the companies are actually calling them for the interview. Why? Because they're looking at their degree and then they're expecting that they are not doing engineering and they're just wanting to move into IT field, right? This can be one of the reason. The other reasons are, let's say you are an engineer, you are graduated as a B or BTech, but you are from tier 3 college, right? And most of the companies do not want students from tier 3 college. Very rarely they go there and do placements on campus. So these all reasons, because of these all reasons, your resume does not stand out with those other thousands who are applying for the same company, right? So now in this case, what happened, Relevel came up. Now this is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs, and you can get a job based on your skill and talent. Okay, now how will you get a job based on your skill and talent? How we are going to judge on it? So you have to give a free test. Once you attempt this test for free, you have to finish your test in a single day of your choice, and this test will be of 1000 marks. If you score above 700, you will be able to get eligible and you'll be able to get a profile which will be shared with all of our client companies. So 50 plus companies including top startups and unicorns are there with us, like Upgrad, and 1000 plus job positions across business development, front development and backend development is there. So it'll be really helpful for you, and once you score above 700, you will be eligible for all of these, right? Now suppose if you're scoring below 700, no worries, after 30 days you can again reattempt the test. Cool, right? Okay, now but how to register yourself in Relevel? So if you look at the video description, you can find a link. So in the link you have to click on it and you'll be able to go to the one of the website of Relevel, relevel.com, and there you need to register your mobile number, get an OTP, and you will be able to see this particular page. Now in this page, you will be able to choose the test of your choice. So suppose you are very good in front-end development, choose that, select that and move to the booking slot. So you have to book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. Okay. Now once you do that, you have to fill in the details for the admit card. So you have to fill in the full name, email ID, birth year, current state, gender, and you have to put the code here. So the code is RIT10. Once you click on apply and click on create account, your account will be created and the sample paper will be visible for you. Suppose you are not putting up the coupon code RIT10, then you won't be able to get the sample paper. So do not forget to use the coupon code. Okay. Now, once you get the sample paper, open it up, try to solve it, try to get an idea which kind of questions can be asked, how this 1000 marks is segregated, and that's how you'll be able to be ready for giving the actual test. So don't wait, go ahead and register for it right now, because as I said, slots are limited. And also if you have not, if you have already registered, then all the best for it, for the exam. And suppose if you're not ready for it, suppose you are thinking that this exam is of 1000 marks and I don't even one of the language. So go ahead and look at the playlist, whatever we are providing you in the CodeBeyond channel. There are a lot of educators who are, putting up efforts and providing all the content on different frameworks, languages and domains. So go ahead and look at that, and when you upskill yourself, when you're ready, then go ahead and register for it then. Okay, so this was all about Relevel, and you can also join the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description. So what happens when you join the Telegram channel, you'll be able to get all the notifications and all the updates about when a particular educator is coming live. All the things will be coming up in your Telegram channel, so it will be really good if you can join this channel. Also please hit subscribe to the CodeBeyond channel, and also please hit the notification bell so that you get an update and notifications in the YouTube app as well. And please like and share this video if you're liking it. Okay, now if anybody who is watching this video, can you please give me a hi, or just give me a thumbs up or something. Yeah, it will be really good if you can do that. If all my earlier students who are already visiting my all and every sessions, it'll be really good if you guys are there. Okay, so perfect, let's get started with the interview questions. Hi Jitendra. So we are going to cover up all the questions now here. Basically we are going to do the same thing what we have done in HTML interview questions, but this time most of the answers you must be knowing about it, right? So we are not going to waste time. What we are going to do is basically I'm going to tell you about all the questions which will be very, very important. And again, I'm going to segregate it in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But you need to make sure that whatever assignments I'm giving and whatever topics I'm giving that you need to search upon, please go ahead and do that. It should not be like that, okay, one video is already there, Ritwik sir has given it, and before one day of interview I'm going to just watch that video. It will not help you, because a lot of assignments will be there in this interview session, right? So don't expect everything. You have to research, you have to Google, you have to find out the answers of that, and then you'll be ready for the interview, right? So let's get started. And I think I've already created one of the HTML page. Yeah, so this was the basic questions, intermediate questions, and advanced questions, as you can see, which was on HTML, right? So now we are going to see the questions on CSS. Let me do something. Let's rename it. Okay, so I'm just renaming it with HTML question.html, and I'm going to create one more file. I'm just going to name it as CSS question.html. Fine. And let's check out what all questions can be asked in CSS. Okay, now before starting these questions, you should understand that there are many topics which we have done together, right? We have learned a lot about CSS, and we have done a lot of sessions which are miscellaneous, and in those miscellaneous sessions we have learned so many different properties, right? And I want you guys to revise it once and then come back and again revise it when we are doing it here, right? So it will become a revision for you also, and it will become a preparation for an interview as well. So the questions which I'll be putting up here will be related to CSS only and nothing else. Okay, so first we'll start with basic questions, and let's see what can be asked in basic questions. So obviously the very first question which can be asked to you will be the different types of CSS, right? And again, when I say different types of CSS, it's inline, internal, external. But when you're saying this, just say that different types of CSS is inline, internal, external. Okay. After that, if they are going to ask you that, obviously they are going to ask you that what is the main difference between all those three. Then you have to speak up, then you have to tell a description about it, that inline we write it in the same line, internal we write it in the same HTML file but inside the head tag, and also using the style tag, right? But in external we use it in a different file with the extension of .css, and we include that file in the HTML by using link tag. See, whatever I've told right now, it's not a perfect definition, right? It's not something which I have mugged up from any website or something, correct? This is what I know, this is what you know, this is what you have done so far whenever you're creating a web page, correct? So that's how you need to speak up. Do not just mug something from outside. Keep this thing in your mind. If you're a fresher, people know that you guys are engineer, and engineers are very good at mugging up things, right? So they know, and they're expecting that mugging up answer, but don't do that. Give them a answer which you know. Okay, so different types of CSS are that, but here they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop in this question that they're going to just ask what are the different types of CSS, but they're going to also ask you why there are three types of CSS, right? They're going to ask you why there's an inline, why there's an internal, why there's an external, what is the main point of this. So basically there are 2 points I have already described about this. So first one is basically the code length, right? That's the one reason, code length. And the next reason is basically the priority, right? So which particular types of CSS is given the highest priority, which one is the least, you should know that. And not only that, also they can tell you that, give me an example, what is the meaning of priority? Can you show me what is the meaning of when you say priority, right? So you need to write a code and you need to show it to them, what is it? Okay. The next question which they can ask is different types of selectors. Again, when they are asking this, you have to just name them. Do not give a description. Do not be very confident about your answer and just speak it up. Whatever they are asking, just answer that. If they are saying what are the different types of selector, just say there are 5, which is ID, class, universal, element, and group. Okay, so you need to just say this much, and later on then they will ask you that why there are different types of selector, what is the reason behind it that they have so many. Then you have to give an answer to each one of them, and you already know what is the difference of all these. I do not have to repeat it again. ID and class, you know the very good answer. Again, here when you're giving the answer to this question, what is the difference between ID and class, do not just say that when you have the same element we use ID, different IDs, and when you have the different elements we give the same classes. Don't say like that. It will be really good if you can explain them clearly so that they get an idea. Okay, you have the capability to explain answers very nicely and neatly, right? Just like you remember how I have explained you this, I took one example of roll number or a university seat number, and I explained you what is ID. And I also explained you using a class example. I told you that if you're in class 6th and you guys are two different students, right? Ritwik and Aman, let's say, and you are from same class, which is 6th class. So that's the correct time to use class, right? So I've given these examples. If you do not know, if you do not remember, then go ahead and watch the sessions of this when I have, I think this is the second or first session of CSS, and I explained you this, right? Universal, again, it is the star symbol which you use to apply these styles in all of them. Again, element is the normal one. If you give just the element name or the type name, you give element selector, and the group selector is basically using a comma, h1 comma h2 comma h3, something like that, right? So these are the different kinds of selectors. These two questions will be asked to you no matter what. If you are sitting for a front-end developer position as a fresher, these two questions is a must. It will not happen that they are not going to ask this question. Okay, so be very sure that you are practicing the answers of this question 3 to 4 times. Okay, now the next questions which we are going to see is, what is a box model? Okay, now it can be named as box container, box model, anything, but box word will be there. Now, what is a box model in CSS? So this word I think I've not used, and if I've used in one of the sessions, but I'm not sure if I've explained you this. So box model is basically one example where you actually show how border, margin, and padding works. So you need to just take an example, think about an example which you can tell it to the interviewer, that where you can use border, margin, and padding. And once you explain that example, that is what is nothing but a box model. So let's say that I am creating a particular text. I have written a text and the text is surrounded by a border, right? So when a text is surrounded by a border, I can use the border. I can use border colon 2 pixel solid blue, right? And once you do that, then you can also use padding there, right? So that there will be a gap or the space between the border and the text content. Again, you will be able to use margin also, because you will be able to explain that, hey, I want a space between the wall of the page and the border. So that's what is margin. Once you explain these 3 things, that's what is nothing but a box model concept. Okay, so why it is called as a box model? Because obviously when there's a border makes boxes, a rectangular box, right, which is wrapped around different HTML elements. So that's what is a box model. Hello Amit. Guys, if you have any questions, any kind of queries, please do let me know. I am there to answer your questions. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just continue blabbering, saying questions and how to answer those questions. Okay. If anybody is there who want to say hi, who want to just say hello and thumbs up, just give it. It will be really happy. I'll be really happy because I'll be able to see that you guys are attending the sessions and watching it carefully. Okay. So this is the another question. What is the box model? Now here, you need to understand the four terms. Okay. One is the content. Hi Rajiv, I hope you're doing well. Content, border, margin and padding, right? So these are the four things, four words, which is very important to understand because interviewer will try to move the question or mix match the questions here and there. They will ask you what is the content, what is the border, what is the margin, what is the padding in your example. They need to clearly specify them that what it is. Now, after this question, they can ask you what is so common about border, margin, and padding. They can ask you that. They can directly ask that what are the different ways of writing border, margin, and padding. See, these questions are basically those questions which I would like to ask as an interviewer. I have taken many interviews in my life and I do ask these kind of questions because these are most basic questions. And if you don't know this, then maybe you will not be able to crack those interviews, right, of a front-end developer. So I make sure that I ask those questions which are very basics, not much tougher and all, because you guys are freshers and interviewer know that they should not ask you a very difficult question. A very medium range questions should be asked to you guys, right? But if suppose there's a very big company and they're offering a great package, you never know, they can ask a lot of questions from basic to advanced, anything, right? But in a mid startup or a MNC company, these are the questions which will be asked. I'll also tell you what kind of task can be given to you. Don't worry about that. What are the important concepts in CSS? Rajiv Singh, important concepts in CSS is basically how to style your web page. Now, how to style your web page covers everything, okay? Just how to style your web page covers your box model, it covers your coloring effects, it covers your the different colors, I mean, and then font style, font size, all of those things are the important concepts. But when you talk about important concepts, there are many things else when you are learning about CSS, right? So we have animations, transitions, transform, then we have text decorations, right? Our all text and front properties, all those things. Border is also one of the important concept, and there are a lot more on CSS, and I have also explained you this. Let me just check out. I think I'm forgetting. Yeah, selectors. Selectors are one of the important concept. And what else? Media query. Oh, how can I forget that? Media query, flexbox. How can I forget these two? These two are very, very important part or questions of CSS. So yeah, if these things you know, then you can crack a front-end developer position. But yeah, I'll tell you more about it. I'll tell you the task also. These are just the questions. So what are the different ways to write border, padding and margin? Now, what does this question mean? This question means what are the different ways to write it, okay? And you know, I have told you different ways of how you can write a border, padding or margin, correct? You have the, I don't know if I have the code, but you have a lot of ways how you can write it, right? You can write it in this manner, which is also working as a shorthand property. You can write it in the manner of border top, right, and then border left, border bottom, bottom right, in all the four directions. Let's say border top dash color, right? So it will only give you the color. That's what is the next one. Border top width, border top style. So we have three things. Remember this: it's style, width and color. So do remember this. that there are three things: style, width, and color, which is needed or required in a border. So similarly, we have for padding also. Also, please remember how you can give two values in padding, how you can give two values in margin. What is the meaning of those two values? The first value is of top and bottom, the second value is of left and right. That's what you need to remember. If you give only one value, the one value is applied to all four corners. If you're giving four values, then it is clockwise. So first value is of top, and then the right, then the bottom, then the left. So these questions will be asked in a way that you will get confused. Okay, so do not get confused in this. Do a lot of practice and it will be there in your mind, because all three things have the same format of writing or mentioning the values, right? Now, next question here is a very basic theory question, which is, what are the advantages of CSS? Now, I know that most of you will say that it is used to style the web page, but that's a very common answer. All of your friends will say the same thing. All of your 1,000 friends, whoever is coming from the interview, they are going to say the same thing. So you have to be a bit different from the answer which interviewer wants, or they have already listened to it, right? So everybody knows that CSS is used for styling the web page, and that's why you're sitting in front of the front-end developer position, right? Or interviewer. So this answer will not suit here. What you need to do here is, you need to say that it is a separation of content from presentation. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is, content is basically the HTML, the design part, right? So CSS basically separates my content part from the presentation, right? Presentation in the sense it's styling, correct? So when you say this, now they got a very different answer from you. You are saying the same thing. You are saying the same thing, that it is used to style the web page. That means separate thing from content, right? But you are turning it into a different answer, or you're framing it in a different way, correct? So that's what will make you different from others, and maybe this will be a plus point for you in your interview. So separation of content from presentation you can write. The next is, there are different types of CSS, so it is easy to maintain, right? You'll have two files, external CSS and one HTML. So you will have easy to maintain and bandwidth. So how much ever style sheets you want to use, you can use. What is the meaning of bandwidth? Let's understand. So let's say you have 5 HTML files. When do we need 5 HTML files? Why do we need 5 HTML files? Let's say you have one page for home, you have one page for about, you have one page for career, you have one page for contact. Like this, we can have many pages, right? But do we need 5 CSS also? Do we need 5 CSS for all 5 HTML files? No, right? We need only one CSS file. And in one CSS file, we can write all the CSS for all home, about, career, contact, whatever, right? So this is also one of the advantages of CSS. Now, suppose if you do not have any name given to this, if you are not being able to understand that what name should I give to this advantage, try to explain it how I did. Try to explain to the interviewer that I'm not getting a name to this, but I can tell you an advantage that if you have 5 HTML file, it will be really good if you do that, because you are being honest and you are being able to explain that advantage in a more deeply manner. You're not just saying the words that it is easy to maintain or bandwidth. You're not just saying that, but you're explaining also what is the meaning of it. So that will also work. Sixth question. So basically, if they're asking you advantages, they are going to ask limitations, because it's not that there's only CSS which is used for styling. There are preprocessors of CSS which is now in demand, right? So then what is the limitations of CSS? This they can ask, and we are using CSS, so we don't know what is the limitations, right? But let's understand what are those. So first of all, browser compatibility. Basically, Chrome right now is compatibility. Chrome is right now such a web browser which does not give any error whatever code you write, okay? Because Chrome is such a browser which keeps on updating itself and keeps on fixing its bug, and everything is updated. But many of the browsers are still there which do not actually access all the properties of CSS. Okay, so suppose that you're writing in one of the code that, you know, font size equal to 2000 or maybe 20 pixel. Okay, maybe 20 pixel. You're doing it in Chrome, font size is increasing to 20 pixel, but in other browsers those font size is not increasing. So browser compatibility is one of the limitation. Again, it is not a very good limitations because you know, you will be using Chrome most of the time, so that is what it is. Then you have cross browser issue. Now basically some selectors behave differently in a different browser. So if you're using some selectors and opening the web page in Chrome, it will work differently in Internet Explorer or something else. So that's a cross browser issue. The next is there is no parent selector. Okay, so using CSS you can't select a parent tag. I'm saying CSS and this is not CSS3. One person has asked me, hi sir, tell the difference between CSS and CSS3. So I'll tell you about that, but right now have a look. This is the limitation of CSS which I'm writing. There's no parent selector. CSS, in CSS3 you can, and you know how, combinators, right? So you must be knowing what is combinator. I have told you, and using combinator you can select the parent selectors also. Okay, now the next question will be how to include CSS in a web page. This also you must be knowing clearly about it. There are two ways to do this, right? One, basically there are three ways. So I guess you can consider this question and this question as the same, but the way of asking it is different. So how to include CSS in a web page? You can include a link tag to do that when we do external CSS. You can use a style tag to do that when we use our which one? The internal one. And you can also use it as an attribute when you want to use inline. Okay, so these are the different ways how you can include style or CSS in a web page, right? Let's move to the next question. What are the different combinators? What are the different combinators which we have in, one second, I think I have one file for it. I think I did put it somewhere. Okay, this is box model. Okay, these are the different ways you can see border, bottom, width and all. Second way, third way, fourth way, fifth way. In the padding also there are three ways, second, third. Margin also there are three ways. So have a look at that. Somewhere I did, I cannot find it right now. Okay, combinators, I did explain you about combinators. So this will be asked and we can consider this an intermediate question, but still it can be asked as a normal question also. So what are the different combinators? Now this is one of the very good questions which can be asked in CSS because here a lot of questions can be framed. Okay, now if you are answering in what are the different combinators, you will be answering about a lot of different combinators, right? You have descendant combinator, child combinator, general sibling combinator, adjacent sibling combinator, attribute selector. Those all things are there when you talk about different combinators, right? Now when you're naming it one by one, they will try to tell you to explain it by using example. So we have different kinds of writing mode. How do we do it, right? We have plus sign also when we use it. So all of these things you need to explain it to them. how these all combinators are different from each other, and when is it taking the child element, which child element is getting taken, all those things will you need to explain. Okay, I think if you want to understand this combinator session, then go ahead and watch CSS miscellaneous part 1, or no, not 3 and 4. Go ahead and do that. CSS miscellaneous 3 and 4, you will be able to find all these topics of combinators. Okay, so that's your next question. And yeah, one more question is very important here. What are the different units in CSS? This is a very, very important question. I'm just going to write also here. It's BVIP. Now, why is it very, very important question? Because there are a lot of different units. Okay. And to remember all the units, it's very, very difficult. Now, all the units are connected to each other. We have EM, we have pixel, we have VH, we have VW, and lot more, right? Percentage and many more are there. But all these units are related to each one of them, right? Maybe EM is 1/10th of pixel. So something like that, combinations are there. So this is an assignment for you, because I already told you in the unit section when I was teaching you units, I told you some of the combinations of all the units. I did mention that. If you remember, you must be remembering about it. Most asked question is on viewport height and viewport width, because nowadays all the web pages are using these two things, viewport height and viewport width. So try to understand what is that. Try to Google it. What is the viewport height and viewport width? I've already explained in the sessions. Viewport height is basically considering the fact of your screen size, and then it will change it accordingly. So there are two kinds of units. We have one which does not change if you resize the browser. The size will be the same, how much ever you have given. And one unit is when you are resizing the browser, based on the browser size, your size of font size will also change, right? So this is most important question there. From here also, there are a lot of questions which can be framed. So prepare that as well. Okay, the next question and the last question on basic kind which can be asked is, what are the differences between inline block and inline block? Now I feel most of the students will be able to answer this, because I have been using this quite a lot time, and I have explained clearly what is inline, what is block. If suppose you are not being able to explain it to the interviewer very easily or very effectively, you can say them to share the screen. Ask them that if you can share your screen, and try to create a navigation bar and show them what is inline, what is inline block, and what is block. Okay, I don't think it's a very tough question. It is very really easy, and I hope you guys can answer this. Now, before starting the intermediate questions, again, I want to speak something about the task questions. So let's understand what are those. Now here, also when you're putting up in a front-end developer position, nobody is hiring for only HTML developers. Nobody is hiring only CSS developers. Nobody is hiring you only as a JavaScript developer. Okay. If you are going for a front-end developer or a web developer, right, or a front-end developer, they will be asking you questions related to all these three, right? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So don't think that only from CSS questions will be asked, or HTML questions will be asked from all the three sections, and you need to answer from all the three, right? Now, suppose yesterday I think I told you also that if first round will be MCQ, second round will be the task round, and third round will be the technical face-to-face, right? So suppose if you have cracked the MCQ round, where aptitude and technical questions are or have been asked, you will be moving into the task-based question, right? And I told you that they will give you a task based on HTML, and you have to design that particular thing, whatever they will say, and then your task will be getting completed. Now, as I told you, in a front-end developer position, it will not be individually one language task. It will be a mix of all the languages, right? The task will be a mix of all the languages. So the task which they will give you will not be that easy, first of all, right? Let's say that they are providing a particular web page. Okay. Let's say I'm opening my browser and I've just written here relevel.com. Okay. Imagine that this is the web page that what they have given it to you. Okay. They will say they'll give you this particular website itself. Okay. And they'll say that from starting till the end, whatever you can see, the design, the colors, everything, right? Everything from starting, except the working. That means the working means if you click on 4 companies and another page will come, right? So they don't want these links to be working, but they want that, when you hover here, this underline should come, right? So all these things you have to create in a web page, right? And once you are done, you have to share it with them. Okay. Now here, it's a lot of tedious task here. Okay. It's not very easy. It is easy when you're only using minimal things. I don't think this web page is really hard to make. You can create this very easily, but there are a lot of other web pages which will take time to do that. Okay. You can see a lot of effects are there. Can you see here a blur thing here, right? When you go above, you can see this is getting blurred here, right? So this is using a bar, but the bar is having an opacity or a transparency which is given. So the behind the thing is getting visible. So these effects, how you will give, how you are going to give this kind of blue color, how you're going to give this color. If I'm hovering, you can see there's something happening. The blink is happening, right? So that's increasing the opacity, changing the opacity value. How you're going to give these numbers 3, 4, right? And that also only 50% is visible, not complete, right? So these things you have to understand, because that is a task which will give. Now here you will not only create this using HTML, right? You have to create this using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Once you click on login, you're getting this thing, the side window, right? So how you're going to do that? That also you need to understand. So this is the task which you will be given. Once you complete this, then you'll be moving into the part which I am teaching you here. That's a different kind of questions which they will ask. Now here the main motto of asking these questions is basically to check your communication and to check your skill. Okay. Now the task which they have given, it can happen that you must have been googled it, copied it from somewhere. You do not know the logic of it, but then you just copied it from Stack Overflow and you pasted it and it worked, right? And you did not try to actually see what's happening inside the code, correct? Now I'll give you a tip. So here you have to be smart. Now what you have to do is, let's say that see, all the developers do copying and pasting. You already know that, right? And it's not bad. It's actually how developer works, right? So if a task has been given, which is this one, right? What you can do is you can research. You can say that, okay, how can I include this image here? When you will search in Google, you will find something, right? Copy that and paste it. But when you're pasting it, you need to make sure that you're understanding each line. What is happening there? Okay. Do not just paste it and say that, okay, this part is completed, let's move ahead. Don't do that. You need to understand that particular code, because in the next round, it can happen that they will open a web page and they will ask you different questions based on your web page. That how did you do this? How did you make this JavaScript code? What is happening there? So they can ask anything related to your web page, right? You need to make sure that whatever you're doing, even if you're copying, you need to make sure you know the logic, you know whatever you have written in your code. Okay. Once you will be in the next part of the interview, either they will ask some questions to check your communication, or they can also open a web page and they can ask questions based on that. So how did you experience? What was the experience of creating that task? Did you like it? How much time did you took? And you have to confidently answer those things. You have to be very honest. Say that some of the things were there where I found difficulty and I did Googled it. And it's a really good thing. If they're asking that, did you Google anything? Did you cheat? Did you copy? You should say yes. In some places I did. You have to be very honest in that case, because they are not expecting any answer which is very, very illogical. If you say that, okay, I did not cheat, I did not Google, just did it on my own, it's gonna be fake. They will understand that you are faking it, okay, because they have given the assignment, they know what is the problem you will face there. Okay, there will be some places where something is hard and you need to check it on, right? So be frank and do not worry about all those things, because that's how they create the task, that's how they give it to you, so that you face difficulties and you overcome it. Once you overcome it, and once you tell it to the interviewer that, in this place I found this difficulty and I overcome it and I learned a lot, that's when you get placed. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you have understood this thing. These things will be again repeated in my tips and tricks sessions, so please do let me know if you really like this. Give me a thumbs up so that I can come up with more solutions like this and I can give it to you, so it will help you, right? Okay, coming back to intermediate questions, let's understand what are these questions and how you're going to answer this. So first of all, what are pseudo elements and pseudo classes? Again, understand there are two things, and this is a confusing question for you, because as you know, pseudo elements, about visited, anchor, hover, active, link, these all things. But are these pseudo elements or pseudo classes? So that's where you will get confused. Okay, so when you are learning about pseudo element and pseudo classes, I did take this session, this 1 hour session, where I have explained you about this, and I did explain you what are pseudo elements and what are pseudo classes, right? So pseudo elements are basically those elements which works as an element, okay, which is working for an element. So before, after, first letter, first line, those are your pseudo elements. Pseudo classes, whereas, so pseudo elements uses 2 columns, pseudo classes uses 1 column. If you remember, active, visited, link, hover, these all are using single column. So that's your pseudo classes. Pseudo elements are first line, first letter, what else, before, after, selection, those all. Okay, so understand the difference. It can be tricky, so be very sure about what you are saying, right? This is the next question which they can ask. And okay, one more question, task 1, just a normal task 1. So let's say they're asking you, this question was asked to me, basically, personal experience. So this question was asked to me and they just told me that you have a lot of experience in front end. So can you just tell that if there is a box, okay, and you need to move it from left to right, okay, and its shape changes whenever it travels some distance. Now understand this question very carefully. It is kind of tricky, okay? So there is a box and you all know how to create a box, so easily you can do that. Color also you can give, because if you'll not give the color, box will not appear. So that's how you'll do the first part. Next part is saying you need to move it from left to right. You all know how to move a box from left to right. I don't think I need to tell it to you, and I've explained this very clearly how you can do that. So let's say that you know it. And then the next is its shape changes whenever it travels some distance. Its shape changes in the sense, first it is a rectangular box, then maybe it becomes a square. After some amount of time it reaches some space, and then after some time it changes into triangle. After some amount of time it changes into some other shape. Okay, that's what is your question. Did you see what I did right now? Did you see how I framed this question, how I actually look at this question? Many of the freshers does this mistake here itself. So basically what happens, I'll tell you a real situation. Basically what you will do is you will read the question carefully. You will just see If there's a box, you need to move it from left to right, and its shape changes whenever it travels some distance. You will not understand this question clearly because you are reading it in one go. And what you're going to do is, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to create a box, okay, of let's say red color, and you're going to move it from left to right, okay. And once it reaches to the end of the screen, then you're going to change the shape of it, and you will also change the color, just to show them that I know how to change the color. But this is not what has been asked. Okay. Now what does this happen? Did you see how I read the question? I read it one by one, part by part. I first of all see and observed how many stops are there in the question. So there's a comma here, there's an and here. Break it. So if there's a box, so you have to first create a box. Do that. Do that in the front of your interviewer. Read it. If there's a box, create the box. You need to move it from left to right. Show them how I am moving it from left to right. What is going to happen? They're going to understand that, okay, he's showing me each and every line, what is happening from first condition to second condition, and he knows about it. He's showing it to me clearly how he's doing that. There are a lot of ways how you can move it from left to right, but understand the word move. Right? You can't use here float. You cannot use that. Float means putting a box from left to right. Right? Moving means the left to right movement is happening. So that's gonna only happen with animation transition. Again, its shape changes when it travels some distance. So show them that once a box moves from left to right, in between it is changing its shape. And done. So that's how you need to solve a question. These kind of questions will be asked, and these kind of questions can be framed in a very different manner. These questions are related to which topic? Animation, transition, and transform, right? They can ask you that, hey, can you please prepare a box, a square box? It should rotate and move to the corner of the page, then rotate and come to the bottom right corner of the page, and then rotate and go to those part of the web page. You know how to rotate, you know how to move it, you know how to color a box, you know how to design a box. Why cannot you do that? Right? These questions will be asked to make you confused, to see how much time you will take, to see how much knowledge you have on animation transitions and all of these things. Let me know if you have got this. Let me know if you have understood how to tackle these questions. So you have to be very good in animation transitions and transform, rotate, all of skew, all of those things, 3D, 2D, all of those things. Give me a thumbs up if this also helps you in a way. Okay. I cannot see any response. Thank you, Amit, for that. Anybody else? Okay, now next questions. So the next question will be on difference between adaptive and responsive design. Now, what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of adaptive and responsive design in CSS? Understand this. Adaptive design focuses on developing website based on multiple fixed layout size. Okay, so you have semantic layouts, right? Header, footer, nav, aside, all those things, right? So adaptive design is that. So if your screen is your laptop screen and you have said to the browser that, hey, I'm writing a code where I'm writing header, footer, navigation, aside, content, all of those things for a laptop screen, that is what is an adaptive design. Okay, you are writing a code so that it gets adapted to the screen, the laptop screen, and that's how it will look. But once that web page or the web browser, you will resize it, all header and navigation will go here and there. It's gonna distribute itself, it will try to fix itself, the content in the specified area of the browser. That's what is adaptive. But what is responsive? You know it. Responsive means if you are creating an adaptive design and then you are making it responsive using media query or bootstrap, anything. So then when you resize your browser, nothing changes in your website. Website will not lost its data. If the menu bar is there up, it's gonna come vertical now because it's now in a different size format. Footer will also go down, but it's gonna get broadened because right now it was in horizontal when it was in the full laptop screen. If now it is in this much, then footer will become much broader, right? So hi, hello Vivek. Yes, sir, we can do it with inserting keyframes in some percentage. Correct, sir? Yes, you can do that. And also you have to use a lot of things there. Transform, rotate, many things you have to use. Design also you need to change. So you have to use canvas, SVG. Remember how to use sizes and how to change shapes. So you have to use a lot of those things also. So yeah, so responsive design is that. Okay, so you can use, so this is how you need to explain. Again, if you search this question in your Google, they're going to give you a brief description by just making divider, and here some points for adaptive, here some points for responsive. And earlier in, when in 2017, 2016, it was really good idea to explain any difference questions, like this is a difference question, this is a difference question, this is a difference question, right? All these differences questions, people say that you have to answer it in a manner that you put one side adaptive, put one side responsive, and then tell the answer, right? But right now, don't do that. Keep telling about adaptive, right? What happens in adaptive, and then tell about responsive. Even if you are telling only 2 points, it's enough. Okay, what happens in engineering? We have a good books, and it's been given there what are the different differences, right? Maybe 6 to 7, but is it important to tell all of them? How do it look like? Let's say you are saying 1 point for adaptive and then 1 point for responsive. The second point, sir, is this one, and the second point for responsive is this one. The third point for, it looks very clumsy here and there. They are going to understand that you have mugged it up, or maybe you know it and you have read it somewhere. But when you frame it, you do not answer like that. You just say 1 or 2 points about each one of them, and you're going to stop because you have made clear your point. You have clearly said what is the difference. There maybe can be other differences as well, but I do not care. I have told the main difference, and that's what a short and crisp answer sounds like. Okay. So that's how you need to answer your questions. Next. Okay. Again, this is a very good question when it comes to intermediate, and I have not explained you this. So this is an assignment for you, and let's see how come you can understand this question. How is border box different from content box? Now, I have not explained you this. Okay, I've never said what's in border box, what's in content box. I've told you about box model, and these two things are similar to that. Okay, but we have one property of CSS, which is box sizing. Okay, and inside box sizing, we give these two values. Okay, either we give here border box or we give here content box. These two things we give as an value to box sizing. Now, what is the difference between these two, border box and content box? I remember once I have explained you the difference. I have told you what is it, but I did not name it border box or content box. But I did explain what is it. This is an assignment for you. Try to find out what is there in that. Okay, this is an assignment. Try to find out what is this box sizing and what does this do when you're writing border box and when you're writing content box. Okay, this will be a very good question in your interviews. Many of my students have told that this question has been asked, so please check out what is it. Okay, the next question will be a twisting one, but they are just going to say that I have a color and I want to use its variant, one color, just one color, let's say red, and I want to use its variant, okay, but it's not allowed to me, it's not allowed to use any variant color values. So you have to bring up a variant color of the same color. Variant color in the sense, जैसे अगर रेड कलर है तो रेड कलर का बहुत सारा डिफरेंट रेड कलर्स होता है ना, फेडेड रेड कलर हो गया, थोड़ा लाइट हो गया, वो we boys, we do not know how to name it, but yeah, there are different faded colors, right? And there is a different names also to it. But the thing here is that you cannot use the names directly, you cannot use the hexadecimal values directly, you cannot use the RGBA value, also you cannot use the HSL and one more was there, right? RGB, HSL, hexadecimal, these three. You cannot use all of those. You cannot use the variant color values. But you have a color, say that, so again, let's divide it, say that I have a color. So I have a color red. And I want to use this variant, maybe faded red, more faded red, more faded red, more faded red, such kind of variants. But it's not allowed to use any variant color values. I cannot use the values. So how do we do it? The answer of this is very simple, transparency, right? Or we also tell it as opacity. So if it is not allowed to use RGBA, how you're going to give opacity? You can use directly the property opacity and it will happen, right? Give the ID to the color and then give the opacity. If you give opacity 0, it's gonna give a white color. It's gonna give, if you're giving 0.5, it's gonna give you a slight faded red. If you're giving 1, it's gonna completely give you a red. So this is one way how you can do that. A very small question, but a tricky one. Hi Vivek, sir, border box is related to border padding and margin. Yes, but content box is related to elements width and height according to me. You are 50% correct. Not complete. Yes, whatever you said is correct, but not complete. If you're saying this answer to the interviewer, he won't be very satisfied. Okay, so the answer should be like, what is the actual difference between these two? Border and content is not only the difference here. Main difference is with the width and the height. In border box, when you're talking about border box, it does take the value of margin and padding also. Okay, let's say that I have a box. Okay, let's say I have a box. The box size is something, and beyond the box I have given some margin and I have given some padding also, and there is a 2 pixel value of border also, right? So the box which I have created, the box size will be only the size of that box, okay? It's not gonna count the 2 pixel of border also, 5 pixel of margin also, 10 pixel of padding also. It's not gonna count that. So if 2 pixel border, 5 pixel margin, 10 pixel padding, that's gonna be how much? 10, 5, 2, 17, right? 17 pixel, it's gonna subtract from your box. That's what is your border box. When it comes to content box covers everything. Content box covers your border value, your padding value, your margin value, everything. That is the difference. Okay, if you have not understood this, again watch this video, whatever I have told you, or go ahead and research about it. You will be able to get it. So yes, you are correct, Vivek, you're not wrong, but again, it's 50-50 kind of answer which you have given. Okay, cool. So that is what is opacity, the answer of that. The sixth one, again a tricky question. So a tricky question here can be, let's say when you are printing a name, right? Obviously it's going to start from which side? It's going to start from, default mode will be always be left, correct? From the left only my name gets started, right? If I'm not mentioning any text align or something, correct? So it's gonna start from the left hand side. Now here I want to bring my name onto the right hand side. I want to bring it onto the right side. So what you're going to use? Obviously you know it, you're going to use align, right? You're going to use text align and you're going to say that, hey, text align right, or maybe center is going to be in the center. But the question is, you cannot use text align, you have to use something else. What else we can use here? Let's say float. Can we use float? If we can use float, you need to first of all show them if it is working. Suppose if it works, then they're going to ask you the next question: what is the difference between text align and float? Anybody who is watching this session, can you please let me know what is the difference between these two, text align and float? Okay, these are two properties. I have taught you this, but I never told you what is the difference between these two. I've used float also in my programs. I've used text align also in my programs, but I never told you what is the difference between these two. So this is also quite an assignment for you. Try to find out. This question also can be asked. Again, this is one of the questions which is asked to me in my interviews. So make sure that you know about it. One more question here can be from what is the, this is a favorite question of all the interviewers, because interviewers know that you will get pissed when this question been asked. So the question is, what is the different ways of using position, okay, in position property in CSS? So you have absolute, you have many things inherit, but here they are not going to just ask you the names of it, but they are going to explain, you need to explain them what is it and how is it different. So this is the most favorite question. That's why, because it's very hard to actually explain it, but I have explained in a very easy manner. Have a look in the sessions how I explained it and try to explain it in the same manner. Try to use one image and one text to show all these positions. Always try to use one image whenever you want to show something using position, because once you use an image and a text, it will be really easy for you to tell them how different positions are working in your in your program. Okay, so please use two things, image and a text. Anybody who knows what is the difference between text align and float? At least go ahead and search it in Google. Try to find what is the difference. Put it up in the chat. Let me see. Okay, sir, the difference can be float will work on inline elements also, but to use text align, the element should be a block element, let's say h1. Okay, fine. Is it just you have just said it, or did you find it somewhere? Be honest, I'm not gonna judge you, so be honest if you have find it somewhere or you have just written it because you know about it. Okay, let's move to the next question. So the next question is basically about Z index, okay, or overflow. So these two questions can be asked, right? Z index and overflow. And Z index, what is it? It's basically to make your image or text go beneath, like behind the text or in front of the text. And overflow also is to say whether the text is, you want to make it hidden or not. So we use these two things. Try to find out what is it. CSS miscellaneous part 2, I completed this topic. Have a look and understand what is it. Also, what are the different values which you can give in Z index? We can give numbers, we can give auto value. Oh yeah, one more question. What is this auto value? Everybody uses this auto value in many a times. Like they will say margin auto. What is that? What is this auto value? This auto value is used in many places, not only in margin padding, but is used in Z index also. Many properties are using auto value. So what does it do? Try to find that as well. These are some of the questions which are really, really interesting, and interviewers are very keen to ask these questions. Okay, no sir, I have tested it. Z index has to be applied on the element parent or the element itself. Saurav Kumar, Z index has to be applied on the element parent or the element itself. It depends on, see, if you have a image and if you have a text, right? Suppose there's a text, there's a paragraph, right? And you have an image also. So if you want to, the particular element which you want to be in the behind, right? That's where you want to apply the Z index. So let's say the image you want it behind. So you'll apply the Z index to that. So yes, it can be to the child element also, or to the parent element. It can be a different case, because if you're using a div container, then that's gonna be the parent element, right? So that's how it'll work. Okay, let's go ahead. So we have different combinators. I think I've already told combinations. Yes, the next topic. So let's move into the advanced questions and let's understand that. Okay. So advanced questions is basically consisting of all those topics which I've covered recently in our CSS miscellaneous part, right? So in advanced questions, all those topics is gonna get asked, and not only they are going to just ask you in a way that you have to just say it, but they're going to also ask you in a practical manner. They'll say that you have to do this. So very first question you are expecting it is flexbox. They are going to ask it in detail. Do not just try to say that this is a flexible box which will work as same as your display inline or display block. No, do not answer in that manner. Try to explain with using example. If using a rough sheet, that will be really good. If sharing a screen, that will be really good. So try to do that, because flexbox is not a easy thing to explain. If you remember, I have taken 1.5 hours to explain this, and there were a lot of things which I've explained in this particular topic, right? So have a look at this sessions also. Try to see how I have explained flexbox in the same manner. You have to say it in a minimal time. Okay, try to say about display flex. Try to say what is flex item, align content, align item. These questions will be asked to you. What is the difference between align items, align content, all those properties which we have used in our flexbox. Justify content. Let me just write it. What is the difference between justify content, align items, and align content? I have explained these three differences in my sessions very well. So have a look if you do not know about it. This question will be asked if they're asking about flexbox. Again, from flexbox, they're going to also ask about flex wrap. And again, they are going to ask you or give you a scenario. They'll say that, hey, 3 components, I'm giving it to you. 3 texts that they will give you, and they'll say that apply flex wrap into it and show me what is it doing. So first of all, understand flex wrap will only work, or flex ka any property will only work when you are using display flex. If you're not putting up display flex in your parent element, flex properties is not gonna work anywhere, right? So understand these things, have a practice a lot using flex. Try to see when you're not writing that code, then what is happening. Try to see if you're not writing this one, then what is happening. When you do that, then only you will understand what is happening. Flex wrap and flex flow. Okay, these two. The next is again, you have guessed it correctly. So the next will be about media query. Again, here it will not be a direct question. They are not going to just ask you that, hey, can you explain media query? Not like that. They are going to give you a scenario. They're going to give you one web page which will not have media query in it, and they'll just say you that, this web page. One second, let me just show you. So this web page is not having a media query. Okay, it is opening in a normal way if I open it in the laptop. But when I am dragging it, when I'm resizing my browser, this is not, the content is not changing its behavior, right? So I want to make changes in the behavior. I want that maybe, these all links should come in one portion, and all the content should be coming in one portion, like that. So they'll just give you some idea that, hey, can you write a code using media query and tell me how can you bring this vertically, right? So I have also explained you that by using many examples in media query sessions. Try to watch that, try to see what are the different scenarios which I have told you about media query, and you will learn a lot from that, right? So these kind of questions will be asked in media query, not directly what is a media query. They'll directly ask you to use it in one of the pages. Do not think that they are not be ready with any of the page. They are interviewers. They will be ready with a lot of questions for you. Okay. Now the next question again, I think yesterday somebody asked me this, and that was important. This exclamation mark important. What is it? Why is it used for? This question can be asked in your advanced portion. Okay. So get an understanding of this as well. What is the use of slash important, and why do we use it? Okay. Any questions till now? Any questions? Please do let me know. How to center align a div inside another div. Now understand this question, how to center align a div inside another div. That means there are two divs which are nested, and you need to center align a div inside another div. How you're going to do that? So you know it very well. You have to use text align, and you have to use vertical align also, because it is saying that you have to center align a div inside the another div. So both the things you'll be using, vertical align and text align. Also you have to use display inline block to do this. These questions will be framed in a very different way also. This is just one of the example which I have told you. They can ask you in a different way also. Maybe they will put up 3 divs and they will tell you that, I'll just explain you. So let's say that you have a div, okay? And inside that they are creating 3 more divs. So you have a div, inside that you have 1 div, 2 div, 3 div. So one is on the left, one is in the center, and one is on the right. How will you do that? I believe I have explained this in your table based layout, right? When I was teaching you table based layout, that in the project I've taught you about this. I think I gave you an assignment also based on that. So you have 4 divs, one is the parent div, other 3 are child divs. All these 3 divs you wanted to put it inside the parent div in some corners. So how will you do that? Those things, try it out, because in Myntra or in any kind of e-commerce website, you can see the cards are placed in such a manner that it looks beautiful. So those cards are nothing but div containers. So how do you place your containers in the respective place where you want it to be? If you know that, if you get a skill on that, that if I want it on the left hand side, how will you do that? If I want it on the this corner with this much space, how will you do that? So you will be in the best position to answer that. This one, you can do it in many ways. You can do it using text align, vertical align. You can use it using transform. You can use it using flexbox. So there are a lot of ways how you can answer this question. Okay. Once again, I'm just gonna see. In Relevel, front-end dev is responsive thing has to be implemented, or they only focus on implementation part? Sort of. I have no idea about this, so sorry for that. But let me ask somebody and let me see what are the questions, because I'm soon coming up. Somebody told me that please come up with level questions. What kind of questions will be asked? So I'm preparing on that. I'm thinking of coming up in a session where I'm going to discuss different questions which is asked in the level test. So I have no idea right now about that. So sorry, but soon I'm going to cover all those things, which will be specifically about Relevel. So just stick to the sessions, and you will get to know when I'll be coming about for that session, right? So I need to prepare something for that. So just give me time and I will come up. I'll come back with that. Justify content space between. We can also do it with flex box. Let's say displays flex in parent div justify content center. Yes, Vivek, you can do that. I just told you that flex you can use. Fine. Media query, one more thing can be asked here. The different 4 types of media query, right? We have 4 types of @media. We have all, we have screen, only screen, and print, right? So this question can be asked. Okay, the next and the most important question is grid system. Now this also I have not explained you, because this I have kept for Bootstrap. Yes, please, I'm planning to Relevel front exam at Relevel. It will be really helpful, Bhaiya. Yes, Saurav, I'm planning on it. Just give me some time. Maybe let's see if I can do it next week. But yeah, it is on track and I'm working on it. So it is taking time because I have to cover all these things also. So yeah, just wait for it. Grid system, I have not explained it right now because I was planning it to do it using Bootstrap, because in Bootstrap you'll be able to understand in a much more better way. But without using Bootstrap, using CSS also there's a grid system. Try to understand it by yourself. For a beginner, this question will not be asked. This question will only be asked if you have written in your resume about Bootstrap. Okay, if you have written in your resume about Bootstrap, they will ask you this question about grid system and you have to tell what is it, right? So but right now I don't think this is a very rarely asked questions. Okay, so this question will not be asked to you if you are writing Bootstrap. Then one more thing in your resume, what you're writing, what you should not write, one session is also there for you guys on that. I'll also try to review some of the front-end developer resumes, right? So we will do that slowly because I'll be there for quite a lot time. So don't worry about that. Okay. Okay, yeah. So next question is on specificity. This is one of the question which I think yesterday one of my friend was asking, right, in the live chat. And I think this is again one of the most important question. Again, I have not discussed this. Most of the advanced parts is not discussed yet. So make sure that you are working on it and you are trying to understand. But if you can see how I've segregated is basic, intermediate, you can see that all of these things have been discussed to you and you know all of these things. This is only the advanced part which this type of questions will be asked to you in your startup company. Maybe the company is very big and they're offering a very good package to you. They will ask you this. Or MNCs will not ask these questions. MNCs will always ask the basic ones to the freshers. Okay. Startup companies can ask you this because they are paying you a lot. So they will be asking this. Also, again, about companies also I need to discuss a lot about things to you guys. So all my experience I'll be sharing with you, which company is good, which company is not good, startups companies are better or not, multinational companies are better or not, the companies which just got started are good or not. All those things will be discussed in my interview playlist. It's not prepared yet, but I think by tomorrow one playlist will be there up, interview preparation tips and tricks. So all those discussions will be happening in that page. Any questions, guys? If anything is there, then please do let me know. Let me just search if I don't think I have for a beginner case, if I have left anything. I'm just checking it out. There are so many topics which is not known to you, like tweeting and all. There's no problem. Do not go ahead and learn that. Uh, it's a total waste of time. Even if suppose a person is asking what is tweeting, right? Even if you don't know, it's fine, because if you are giving all the answers to the interviewer will have some doubt on you. Okay, and see, mainly the interviewer feels like I should ask that question which you should not answer. Okay, every interviewer is having that feeling, so they are keep on asking hard questions. So suppose if you are giving all the basic questions answer, all the intermediate question answers, and now he wants to ask something which is not related to CSS or something which is very hard, they'll just ask what is tweeting or what is specificity, and you'll be like, okay, I don't know this, and they'll be happy. So they're not going to reject you, they're just going to play with you, so that there should be some questions which you are not answering. So it's fine if one question you are not answering, right? That's totally fine. Do not take it to your heart and say that okay, one question का आंसर नहीं दिया मैंने, मुझे तो रिजेक्ट कर देगा. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. Just be honest with you. Whatever you're saying is correct. That should be there. Okay, I don't think I have another questions. Most of the questions, but I think I have seen one question in the beginning. Somebody asked me that. Arun Kumar did ask me tell the difference between CSS and CSS3, right? So yeah, we never talked about CSS and CSS3. So CSS basically does not have the concept of modules. Okay, let me just write it here. Difference between CSS and CSS3. So basically CSS does not have the concept of modules. CSS3 incorporates a new feature where it can group CSS codes into convenient modules. Okay, so inside one module you can have all the CSS codes written there. So modules ensure that all styles for a specific component will reside in one place. Okay, so that thing is there in CSS3, but in CSS we do not have this case, which is creating the modules and all. Okay, that is one of the main difference which you can tell it to the interviewer, and he will get impressed. Some questions are also there. Can you take one session for reviewing front-end developer resume? It will be very helpful to judge ourselves. Yes, Saurav, I'll do that. I'll also share one Google form soon, so that you guys can fill up the Google form and you can put down your resumes there, and I'll just take 1 or 2 days to see that what are the resumes and what is happening there, and then I'll come up with those sessions, right? If you want me to do that, I will do it soon. I'll do it. Okay, sir, can you explain box shadow and its parameters? I can't get it. Box shadow, I think recently I did in the previous session. One second, let me check out which session it was. Yeah, the CSS miscellaneous 3. It is having a lot of views. Go and check out that CSS miscellaneous 3, Vivek Kumar Gupta. If you're listening, go ahead and watch that particular session, CSS miscellaneous 3. I have explained about box shadows, rounded corners, gradients, shadows, all those things, and explain it in a very cool manner. So please go ahead and watch that. So yeah, that's all about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this session, and I hope you have understood all of these questions which can be asked, and all the tasks also. I'm just waiting for my session to complete for my interview tips and tricks, because those gonna be very amazing and you're going to like it, because there'll be no technical sounded educator. So it will be mostly about talking to you guys and understanding what kind of fears do you have, right, and how to tackle it. So it will be very good session, and I'm going to teach you a lot of things there. So if you're getting interview ready, please watch that session, and also please tell other people to join that, because it's non-technical, so everybody will try to join it, because it will be really good if you know about some of the interview tips and tricks. So no technical things, only theoretical knowledge about how you can crack an interview. What are the postures you need to take, how you're going to answer some questions, कोविड का इम्पैक्ट क्या हुआ है, कोविड के चलते क्या चेंजेस हुई हैं, all those secrets things I'm gonna share it with you. Okay, so please be there on 25th and 26th. Timing also I'll tell you at night, because most of the people are free at night, and they are just sleeping and just chatting and all. So that's a very good time to talk to you guys for you. Sir, are you from Jamshedpur? Yes, I am from Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, and I cannot give anything, my personal things to get connected to you, but you can find me on LinkedIn. Okay. So let's end this stream. So please join the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description. Click on that and join the Telegram channel. I know from some days there's no update going on. I've already passed this information to the team. Let's see if now you are getting the updates. Okay, I'll make sure that this should happen now. You'll get all the updates and notifications of our live session, when the educator is coming live, at which time, and taking what topic. So all those things will be mentioned in the Telegram channel. Also, please do subscribe to the channel if you have not done it. One fun fact: after 35 minutes, you won't be able to live chat or ask me anything if you have not subscribed to the channel. So you need to subscribe the channel and hit the notification bell to ask some questions in the live chat. So please do that. And obviously it will be very helpful for you, because you will get all the notifications in your YouTube app as well, right? And please like and share. Please like the video and share it with your relatives, friends and all. LinkedIn link, bhaiya. You can find it. You need to search it. I cannot share it. It's not allowed. Bhaiya, take mock interviews. I will take it, Rani. Just give me some time. Let me prepare the forms and all, and let me first complete the sessions so that you guys are ready for for the interviews, and get ready your resumes. Trust me, the way I check resumes will be again a hectic one. I'll be telling a lot of changes, how it looks and how much pages it is having. All those things will be seen. So keep your resumes ready. One day will come soon, maybe the next week, when I'll be putting up the forms, and you have to change a lot of things in your resume, right? So yep, thank you so much guys for all the responses which I have got today. It was a really cool session. I hope you guys will keep on interacting with me like this always. So thank you. Bye-bye. The next session will be again at night. I'm not sure if I'll be coming at night, but if I'm coming at night, you will get a notification. That is on functions and closures, mostly on closures. That's a very important topic on JavaScript. And from now, only JavaScript. We are not going to talk about HTML and CSS, only JavaScript. We're going to just figure out what are the advanced topics and all those things. So yep, thank you so much. Bye-bye guys.